Happy.
I started the recording. Welcome to another one of our co-founder trainings. We do this on Mondays and Thursday, and today is Thursday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We get together 3 times a week at 9:30 p.m. And this is the last time this week we get together, and I think we'll probably be in the month of April the next time we meet. Anyway, we've got a couple things we've got to go over today. And I really want y'all to really participate, pay attention, and participate. Okay, guys? All right, so let me open up the chat here, just so I have that handy. Let me share my screen. We're going to talk about the proper setup. It's very important that everybody get properly set up. Okay. All right. If you're properly set up, you've got some money here in this transaction fee area. Okay. You can always add money by putting in how much you want to buy in dollars here. And then it'll buy that much BNB, and we'll be using that BNB to pay your transaction fees when we go to distribute your coins. So these distributions will be paid by you. It's only a few cents every time you get a distribution. Now, you only get 24 hours before penalties are gonna, accrue. Like if you fail to have anything here, or if it's less than $1 in there, then you're not going to get your distribution. Okay. So you don't want to have any interruption to your distribution. So make sure that you are loading this. I would recommend $2. I put 5 in there because I don't want to fiddle with it a lot. So, and then keep an eye on it because you don't want it to go below $1. Okay. Because that would result in an interruption. Okay. That's the important part of the setup. Coming soon will be choosing your time, that you make your payment. That's going to come soon here soon. We're going to see that shortly. I've already seen what it looks like. It'll appear maybe tomorrow, maybe. You need to make sure your profile is filled in. Okay, very important. Okay. Uh, let's see here. You need to make sure you're watching the
Where are you
videos.
seeing this at?
Come again, Cecil.
I'm kind of lost where you're at on all this.
We're talking about setup, making sure your
Right,
everything's set up. So you got to make sure that you load this with some BNB to cover your transaction fees.
right.
Okay. You need to make sure that your profile, you've got that updated and correct information in there.
Okay.
You need to make sure that if you see a time thing, you choose the time of you're making your payments every day. I do my payments every day at 7 a.m. Okay, my time. And so that's what you put in there. And you could put in an odd number. The more odd numbers, the better. Round numbers, you're going to have, we're going to be choking on the round numbers. So it's better to have odd numbers like 701, 70, in my case, 701 or 712 or 658, something odd, not right on,
Can,
not right on the hour.
can, can you do an example of how to enter the digits?
Not
Because
yet.
I've tried several times.
You tried this several times?
Yes, I've tried so many different ways in entering
I'll add
the
$1.
digits.
You can just click on the little up and down thing here, right? See that? Up and
They
down.
never, that doesn't appear when I do it. Of
Are you on the
course,
phone?
that was 2 days ago, but
Okay. I mean, it works. I mean, it's like you click on it, pay now. Oh, if you have to put more than $1 in, I'll put $2 in. Pay now,
okay,
and it comes up. You can take BNB, $2, confirm,
okay. I'm gonna try it again.
and then close extension. And now it says $7 instead of 5, right? So that's what I recommend you guys do. So just keep that loaded. Okay. So I want you guys to all be properly set up here. Now I got a question from stop sharing. Let's go to the chat. And I want you guys all to write the name of your favorite onboarder right into the chat. Write the name of your favorite. I want all of you to do this. Okay. Participation. Okay. Okay. So Karen says Zyrene. Cecil says Zyrene. Scott Zyrene. Brett Rosalie. Jeffrey Karen. Gregory Karen. Chris Karen. Greg Zyrene. Hunter Karen. Maria. Let's see here. Peter Zyrene. Sherry Paul. Mohammed Zyrene, Mike Karen, Rosalie Brett. Brett's not an onboarder. Oh, that's thanks, Brett. I got it. Leslie Karen, Susan is that's not on Susan, that's not an onboarder. Joe Zyrene, Gregory Justine, Maria Karen too, Dale Rosalie Zyrene, Pastor Carl Zyrene, Ed, Maria, Mohammed, Karen. Okay. All right. So y'all should all have a favorite onboarder. What am I talking about? Someone that you have an existing communication relationship that you're already talking to them. You're already chatting up with them. You know that they're there for you when you need them because these guys are on call. Okay. Right. So basically, you have a whole bunch of them here to choose from. Right. So apparently a lot of you favor. I mean, you know, they're all pretty
That's
good, you
a
know.
question though, because they're all good on borders, all of them.
Yeah. So
But
the main thing here, guys, is that you want to have a relationship with someone so that to save yourself time, these guys have more technical know-how on buying crypto than most members, right? And that would include your sponsor most likely. Okay. And there's room for us to add more onboarders, you know. But if you watch the video here, the onboarder gets $5 for helping out. Okay. So just be aware for a small amount of money. Okay. Let me put it to you this way. What if I showed you an easy way to get signups and it only cost you $5? Who would be interested in that?
I would be.
I will.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm there.
Button.
Me
I mean,
too.
you can get paid signups for $50 and we'll do everything for you. It's all done for you, but I'll show you an easy way to get signups. I'll cover that today. And maybe it'll cost you $5 if you bring an onboarder in and let them do the heavy lifting, and all you do is basically give away money. You know what I'm saying? So you'll be the Santa Claus. But we'll come back to that. But all of you should have a good relationship with an onboarder and realize that onboarders can opt to charge more. The minimum amount they're going to charge you is $5. Okay. But each onboarder is going to let you know what they charge. Okay. Like Karen, she's in Canada. She might be willing to pay, she might think she's worth $10, right? She probably is worth $10 using her time. Things like that. But
Every bit of it.
you need to be in touch with your onboarder and to say, if I bring some people to you, can you help them out? And is the charge $5 or what is it? And just make sure you have it all ironed out before you start bringing people over to them. You know what I'm saying? There's that. Okay. Let's talk about charts. So far it's been a little bit slow, but it's we're increasing. Let me go here. Okay, look at that, guys. So we went down, we were below $1,000, and now we're at above $2,600 on PFI. Can we get a Yahoo? Hooray!
To the moon!
Yeah.
Oh,
Awesome.
That's pretty good, right? That's pretty good. Okay.
Yeah, baby.
So, from here, the person was getting like 333x, And over here, it's going to be less than 250x. You know what I'm saying? If you go down to the chart here. Oh, got a back account. Go to the chart here, PFI. Okay. So we were below 2000. We were above 1000, right? So it turned out to be right about 33x. I put a poster up about that. And anything over 2000 is going to be, less than 250x. But the next stop is 3000, which is 166x. Guys, some of you, have $100. I don't think you want to throw away $10,000 because you sat on your $100 too long. I mean, idle money, right? Money that's sitting around collecting dust. If you have any idle money, you should put it to work here because it's going to work hard for you. Okay. I can show you the other charts, but I think you guys get the idea that all the charts have been moving up since we basically said, hey, there's a penalty for selling, right? So now with that, pretty much, very low or no, selling going on, that means that it's just going to go up. It's going to go up very, very fast. And the smart people are going to be really excited about triple digit returns, turn $100 into 10,000, right? That's, if you get 100 times your money, 100 times your money on $100 is $10,000, right? So do you want $100 or do you want $10,000? Really just the question you should be asking yourself.
$10,000.
Yeah. You want to maximize that. So I'm holding back on a couple of heavy hitters that we got. They just come up and push the coin right up to the price target. We need a group of you to really understand what we're doing here. Okay, so let's talk about that. Got to think about this now. In pool funding, if you're a member of pool funding, it should be clear what we all want, because we should all be wanting the same thing if we're a member of pool funding. What do we want? What do you want in pool funding?
Chalk banana split.
Holy cow. Something serious, guys. I want to get serious. I thought you were going to lay back.
Financial independent.
We'll be a millionaire by the end of the year.
Okay. I want to get real specific and call it cash flow. Am I right or am I right?
Cash flow.
Definitely.
Yes.
Okay. You want your cash flow to increase. Am I right?
Right.
Yes.
You want your cash flow to
Absolutely.
come in daily. Am I right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. That's pretty cool. Cash flow is fun. Okay. So let me liken this to a story. Put a story on it. Let's say that I had a rich uncle, and when he passed away, as one of his nephews, he gave me a 7-Eleven, free and clear, operational, already doing business. Okay. How lucky would that be, right? So now I've got an operating 7-Eleven. I'm the owner of it now. Okay. Do I have cash flow? Come on. So you
Yes,
like,
every day. Every day.
yeah, like
Yep.
every minute of every day if it's a 24/7 operation, right? So I got cash flow. Okay. Now that's cool. But what if I was an idiot? Right? I'm like just thinking, well, how much cash did we get today? And then they report the number back to me, and I say, great, and I grab it all, right? And then the next day, I go, how much cash did we get today? And then I go and I grab it all. You know what I'm saying? Now, are you starting to see a pattern here?
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
being an idiot, aren't I? I inherited a damn thing. I don't understand how this works, But I'm excited about the cash flow. I'm getting all this cash every day that I didn't have before my uncle, passed away, and I inherited one of his 7-Elevens, as one of his nephews. I got one, right? Maybe he had a whole bunch of them. So, yeah. So guess what? Continue that pattern, And what are the shelves in the 7-Eleven going to look like in about 2 weeks?
Empty.
Empty.
And then how mad is it? You know, can I get mad at everybody at the 7-Eleven that's working there? You know, they've been working there for years. Can I go in there all angry? Why is my cash flow less today? Why is my cash flow less today? Can I get mad?
Nothing to
at
sell.
at them? Am I going to be an
You
idiot and
can,
get
but-
mad at them?
Won't do you any good.
Yeah, might get mad about it, but it means I'm really the idiot here. Am I right?
Yes.
Because if I'm single-minded like that, if I don't understand business, okay, get something by offering something. You know what I'm saying? If I don't keep my shelves, loaded, right? Then who the heck is going to want to come into my store with a bunch of empty shelves? At some point, they figure out that place don't got anything. I'm not going to go in there anymore. And I lose that customer. It's going to go to the 7-Eleven a block away. You know what I'm saying? I mean, where it's not an idiot that owns the thing. Got it? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So what's on our shelf, guys? What are we offering in pool funding?
Cash flow and coin
Cash
bonus.
flow.
Yeah. but
Financial,
Wealth building.
what we're really the correct answer I'm looking for is we're offering wealth creation. Okay. We're offering wealth creation. That's the offer. Okay. Meaning that people are going to be able to acquire something that's going to appreciate in value, right? So someone should be happy to send me $111 a day of USDT because in return, they're getting PFI, PFB, and PFS every day, right?
Right.
Right.
And the next day after they purchased it, the value's going up. At least that's what it should be doing, right?
Right.
If we're not idiots,
Absolutely.
if we're not idiots, okay, the price goes up because that's called wealth creation. So we have to approach this from a business mindset that we are co-founders. Now, I have also used the term co-owner. If you really want to understand the feeling that I'm talking about here, just use the word co-owner. Okay, it's like 100 of us now own this 7-Eleven, right? Maybe give it to all of us, nephews and grandchildren and blah, blah, blah. And we all splitting it, you know what I'm saying? And we all have like a percentage. But we're all co-owners of pool funding. You get what I'm saying here, guys?
Yeah.
Yes.
And so it has to be important to each one of us that we're putting a good offer out there. Am I right?
Yes. Absolutely.
And that's why we want the price of our coins to go up. That right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if there were 100 of us that owned the 7-Eleven, but only 2 of us were willing to use our portion of our cash flow to to stock up the shelves, would that be sustainable?
No.
So wouldn't it be more sustainable if we all 100 of us, took a little bit of what we had and put stock on the shelf? Wouldn't that be more sustainable?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
That would be a cooperative.
Yeah, and that's
a group effort.
Yeah, so we are cooperative. Pool funding is a cooperative, and I just want you guys to understand that. Well, let me ask you another question. Would you rather own a 7-Eleven or a bank? Which one would you rather own?
Bank.
Bank.
yeah, bank.
Bank.
Yeah, it's almost a no-brainer if you understand anything about the nature of what goes into an operation. Banks are banking. They get, it's almost like free money for them. It's really the system is actually rigged in the benefit to the bank.
Absolutely.
It really is. So the problem with the 7-Eleven is that Snickers bar might go bad if it sits there too long. Am I right?
Correct.
Yes.
But the $100 that's in the vault in the bank, will that ever go bad? I mean, like it will spoil and you can't use it anymore? No, right?
No.
Yeah. Anyway, I want you guys to realize that being a member of co-founding, you actually have a better deal than what the bank has. You do. You
We
have a
do.
you have a better deal than the bank.
It's a better return.
Well, what's the return on free?
100%.
Let me ask you something. I make my payment at 7 a.m. Okay. But 7 a.m. my time is 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Am I right? So that's how it works right now. So could I meet with someone in New York? Could I meet with them at 6 p.m.? Could I do that? Yeah.
Yes.
Sure,
You could.
And could I say, I'm going to give you $111 today? Do I have the power to do that?
Yes.
Yes.
I do, right? So I sit there, I got an hour before I make my payment, right?
Right.
Yes.
I got the money sitting in my account ready to go, right?
Yes.
It's all about
You do?
timing. It's all about timing, okay? I'm trying to teach you guys. You guys don't see it.
I'm listening. I'm listening.
Okay. So I meet with this guy and I say, I'm going to give you $111 of some money today. Okay. Meet me at 6. He shows up at 6. I help him get his wallet set up and all that. You know, I might even bring an onboarder in because maybe I'm totally, non-technical myself. Right. So I get one of my onboarders. I pay the onboarder $5. There you go. I spent $5, because I needed help. Fair enough.
Fair enough.
So I help, let's call him George. Okay. Then I take $111 of USDT that I got right now, and I send it over to his wallet, and he's got his pool funding account already linked to mine, and now he can use that 111 I just sent to him and go pay now, pay now, pay now, right? And then that goes back to me, doesn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. And how much did George spend? Nothing. It was free for
Nothing.
him, right?
Yes.
You understand? And then I say,
Yes, sir.
George, you got to give money away too, right? You got a certain amount of time, right? Come up with a time frame, something quick, ideally tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? But you just say, look, you're now that you're in the business, you're in the same business I am. You can do the same thing I did, right? And then you're but what you have is you have $111 of something at today's value, okay? And tomorrow's value is likely to be double, triple X. Okay. 100%, 50%, something, I'm not 100%, 100 times, 50 times. That's what I mean by double, or triple X. Right. So that by the time that money seasons in his account, he doesn't end up with $111. He ends up with something like $11,000, right?
100x.
On what you did on the first day. Okay. And how happy is George that he met you? Okay. Now, George, the deal is that George has got to, start paying back, right? So basically, you could give George a hand for a little bit of time, but you say at the end of this time, okay, which it should be a very short time, like a week or so. The end of this time, then when I send something back to you, I'm gonna send you $100 instead of 111. So that means you're covering the 11, right? But see, if George has got someone below him that's already sending him 111, then you can go ahead and say I'm sending you back 100, right? And then that $11 from the buddy down there floats up to you. But George has got to do his part of giving money away. Okay. So that's it. You guys have a better deal than a bank right now. You don't even realize it. It's just that you're going to unclog the voice a little bit and get out there and to tell people that you have power. You like to demonstrate it. Okay. And we want the value of our coins to go up. So right now, all of you should be thinking about how much can you pump up the price of these coins. Each one of you individually should be thinking that, all of you here. What can you do? Because you're going to get the maximum gain now. Okay. Now let's take this out. Let's see how the strategy works long term. Let's just carry it out there. Okay. So if you have a group of people, whatever, we'll just start with a round number, 1,000 people today. You got 1,000 people today that are excited about wealth creation, and they're trying to maximize their co-founder bonus, right? Because that's 10x, right? You got 1,000 people today that they're not interested in selling the coin, right? They're interested in accumulating as much coin as possible, right? And so they're taking, as they use this cash flow machine to create cash flow, they're taking, a tithe, 10% or something like that. And they're taking that and they're putting it back in. 1,000 of you are doing that. And you're doing it regularly, right? So that there's constant buying pressure pushing the cash, the wealth creation aspect of pool funding up and up and up. And then as the cash flow machine part is working, it's creating exponential growth, right? So we turn from 1,000 people, suddenly we have 100,000 people doing the same thing from exponential growth. Understand?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
we started with 1,000 people that were working hard to maximize their co-founder bonus, but because of exponential growth, that 1,000 people turned into 100,000. What is that doing to the price of our coins?
Pushing up.
It's going up, right?
Right.
Because the smart member doesn't even think about selling until they collect their co-founder bonus, right? And if you do it right, if you understand what kind of business you're in, you got a better business than a bank. You literally can give away money, right? You can literally give away PFI, PFS, PFB every day and get paid for it a week or so later when you're getting at least $11 a day from that person. Am I right?
Right.
Right.
And how hard, is it hard to give away money? Which is easier, selling lotions and potions,
Giving away.
or giving away money? Which one's easier?
Giving away.
Okay.
Giving it away.
And all you got to do is be strategic in the way you think about it. And think, my time that I'm giving away money is 1 hour before I do my payment, and I'll do one person a day. Well, after 10 days, you got 10 people paying you. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You had 10 people, and maybe a week or so later, you're cash flowing enough that you get, you've got $11 times 10, $110 coming in cash flow every day. And that ain't bad. Now you're getting all ready to get into that $1,000 pool. Okay. Because you need at least $100 a day to, just by doing that. Right. So, but the same strategies can be used to move up into the $1,000 pool. But you have to realize just what you got. What you want is cash flow. What you're offering is wealth creation, and you don't really need people to pay for it. The bank will make you pay for it. Okay. If you guys operate quickly, nobody pays. What I mean by that, you got to bring people in. Your payment is people, not money. Make sense?
Right. Right.
And then we should be experiencing explosive growth. The wealth creation side should be like exploding, right? Which makes the cash flow part easy. Is this clearing up anything for some of you? Some of you might have some cobwebs, or I'm trying to clear them out. Is it getting?
I'm with
Yeah.
strength in numbers.
Yes.
Yeah. So this whole idea of I'm going to wait for this and I'm going to wait for that, this has got to be just right, or that's got to be just right. Let's put
Not
aside
anymore.
all that kind of thinking, because that's what's slowing us down. Is there's too many of you that are just, I don't know, gun shy, I guess what they call it. You're a little bit, hesitant for one reason or another. But look, we've got the main
For
parts that need to
work.
be in place. They're in place right now, and right now, I would like to see us hit our price targets not at the end of April. I'd like to have all price targets hit before the middle of April, and then have a cool down period where people still don't sell. You know what I'm saying? Or be penalized, right? For a couple of weeks, just to kind of help people understand it's about cash flow. Okay. Because as long as you have think of it like this: if I live my day, and then at the end of the day, I think about what did I spend today? Let me think. If we divide my rent up by 30 days, I spent this much on rent. If I divide my electric bill up by 30 days, I spent this much on electricity. If I do all the calculations, I'm spending a certain amount of money every day just for operating my personal life. Am I right?
Yes.
Right.
The variable might be the food. Some days I eat like a king, and some days I don't. You know what I'm saying? And so depending on what I chose to eat that day might make that number go up or down a little bit, or if I chose to do some special activity, I decided to see some form of entertainment, I spent some extra money on that. There's variables, right? So, but if I figure out what I spent today, but what if I have more cash flow every single day coming in, more than what I spend every day? Then that's money that could potentially be idle. And what would we do with idle money? We want to put it into wealth creation. That make sense, guys?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Yes.
Yes.
This is how you need to operate your brain when it comes to pool funding. You need to get it really clear. You want cash flow, you're offering wealth creation, and you don't need to make it that hard. You can just say, I don't care if I got to give this away to get people in this thing. I'm going to get people in this thing. I'm going to stop waiting for this, that, or the other. Look, I'm going to get these paid signups. They're going to get done. They're going to get done. They're going to come in faster and faster. But I don't need you to wait on that. That's not something any of you should be waiting for. Am I right?
Right.
You're better than a bank. I mean, yeah. If you take something out of the Federal Reserve, you're accountable for that. That's how banks work. Am I right? But
Yes.
But here, if you gave away $111 to George, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to pay back that $111 of PFB, PFI, PFX, none of that, right? You don't have to do that. Am I right?
Right.
Right.
You get people pushing that pay now button as much as possible. So I'm telling you guys, it's time to go. So first thing first, if you're not pumping up the price of these coins today and tomorrow, then my message did not resonate with you, because you came up with a reason why, you didn't want to put stock on the shelf for some reason. You gave yourself an excuse not to, right? I don't care if it's $1, $10. I don't care if it's small. The widow's mite. Okay? Participate. And then grow your strength on the cash flow side to participate more. Am I making it clear?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Because we don't have to wait around for anything to happen for us. We can actually make it happen just following the clarity of this message today. Okay. But the thing is, if you bring someone in like George, and George says, I'm not gonna do this, I'm not gonna bring anybody in, and then say, well, you got 111, and I guess have a nice life. You're over, done. Why am I done? I thought you were gonna do this for a week. No, I'm not with you.
We'll see you in 90 days.
You gave me resistance on bringing people in, right? And it's like, there you go. Push back. Just don't let George get away with just taking money. What you're trying to do is open George's eyes. Here you go. Here's some money. Now you can do the same thing, but I don't want to do the same thing. Well, hasta la vista, baby. I don't want to see you again. I'm looking for people that have the right heart. You don't have the right heart, so bye. Okay? I gave to you, and I want you to give now. Oh, you're not going to give? Then why? It's not costing you anything, George, to give away these coins. It's not costing you. Just sign them up. Right? That's how you got to look at it. Okay. And there should be no reason for us not to have like extremely fast growth. I mean, do you have to run a big advertising campaign to give away money? I mean, do you have to do
No.
something elaborate? Something, do you have to craft something special? Or can you just tell yourself, I'm in the business of giving away money. I just need someone to talk to. And then the next person you talk to, you tell them, hey, at 6:00 p.m., I'm going to be giving away some money. Would you like it to go to you? How many would say, what? What are you talking about? Yeah, I'm going to give away $111 at 6 p.m. tomorrow. Would you like that to go to you? And if they say no, bye. You're an idiot.
Exactly.
Right? And if they said, what do I got to do? Well, I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to show you how it works, and you're going to have money. That's what we're talking about. Really? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll be there at 6. Where do I got to go? You're going to join me on Zoom. We're going to do it on a Zoom call. So look, you gotta realize that you have power here, so much power, and we get stuck in the weeds when we think about, I don't know, just the past. Anytime you look in the past, regardless, it's easy to get stuck in the weeds. But if you just take the present moment and go forward with it, you can free yourself from being clogged down or bound up or whatever terminology you want to use for being stuck. Okay? No one should be stuck if you got a better deal than the bank, and you do. You got a better deal than the bank. Have I made it clear how better a deal this is than the bank? Have I made it clear?
Yes.
Yeah.
Abundantly.
All right, it's better than a 7-Eleven, that's for sure. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, I would think having a 7-Eleven be a freaking pain in the ass. You know what I'm saying? It'd be a blessing and a curse.
Okay.
All that nickels and dimes you got to keep track of.
Inventory.
Yeah, and then and then you got to worry about some of those people coming in they're supposed to be working for, and they end up being your thieves. Stealing from you, right? That kind of stuff, guys. So, but with this, all you got to do is just make simple arrangements and agreements with people as you go, and make it so that it's fair for the whole community. Make your agreements so that if it would work for all, then it should work for one, right? But if it only works for one, but at the expense of all, avoid those kind of thinking, okay? And people thinking that they should be selling coin right now for any reason, I don't know, other than to use the word idiot,
Stupid.
Day trading mentality. Something.
Well, because we basically said all of our members, and that's basically, pretty much all the people holding our coin in the market are members. So all of our members are not supposed to sell right now, Yeah.
Bye.
And so if no members are selling because they don't want to be penalized, because the penalty is pretty sharp, it's a 30-day penalty, right? That's going to sting. And if they keep selling, well, they're only going to have so much that they can sell. They can only sell what they're holding, right? So and most of them don't have that much that they're holding on to in the first place. But every time they sell, then they start that 30-day suspension over again. So I think we're going to get a pretty good grip on people selling. They're not going to be selling. So if we know no one's selling and only people are buying, then we should all be like thinking a little bit selfishly, like, well, I want to get more. I was hoping someone yesterday that they paid $300 of PFI. And they took the price from whatever it was, but it was basically a 33X, right? So 333X, and they pushed it up to 2,600. So what is it now? 225X, right? And they just happened to do it. those giant opportunities are going to be gone maybe before the end of the day here, you know. So we're going to go to double digits for all of our coins very, very soon. Now on April 2nd, when we launch our other coin, that's going to start at 4,000x. How's that sound?
It sounds fantastic.
You want to come to that one and have some money to 4,000x, right?
Absolutely.
You know, as much as you can gather, right? And you got Hunter here helping you learn how to do these trades. And I was surprised at how few people, I guess they all know how to trade on PancakeSwap, Hunter. Hey, if you don't know how to use PancakeSwap, then you need to show up to to the practice stuff that's going on before game day. Game day is April 2nd. Okay. You don't want to go miss out on a 4,000x because you didn't know how to use PancakeSwap, do you? Right? All right. You got your shameless plug there. I kind of set you up for it there, Hunter.
All right, so speaking of practice runs, I'm going to host a practice run for PancakeSwap on Sunday the 30th. And I'm actually going to have anyone interested get hands-on with PancakeSwap, share their screen, and do a swap right then and there while we're on the call. And we're going to be going over that. Ideally, what will also happen is we're going to be pumping up the price of PFI a bit more as well. And I'm also going to briefly be going over a bit of a checklist for anyone who still has to get their ducks in a row for anything they might want to put into the $1,000 token. So don't miss that. Be there or be square.
Hunter, is it at the usual time, 9:30?
Yeah, it's the usual time for our meetings.
Okay.
Okay.
Last one was at 1, so it's going to be 9:30. Okay, good deal.
I'm volunteering.
Yeah.
All right, I'll see you there.
When it was 1 p.m. Eastern time, I don't think a lot of you in the U.S. showed up to that. That's the problem because you guys were in the middle of your day, right? So that could be
Damn day jobs.
Yeah. For now, anyway, until you don't need it anymore, Gregory. So let's get this cash flow machine working for each and every one of you, and let's, if you got your foot on the brake, this is the wrong time to have your foot on the brake. It's basically April as far as I'm concerned. It's game on. This is it. We're opening up the $1,000 deal. It's game on. This is it. We've been practicing for this. Now it's a game day. So realize that we're going to get to 10,000 co-founders. We're going to get to 1 million partners, and we're going to get there before the end of this year. And just think about that. Imagine having 1 million people with the business mind of understanding that we got to keep the wealth creation side looking good, right? We got 1 million people thinking that way. We'll never have a problem, and we'll get to a point of what's called price stability, right? But it's going to be because we are right thinking. Okay, you see, if you think rightly, then you use principles like if it works for everyone, then it will work for one. But if it only works for one, it's a bad idea, right? That's a principle. Am I right? That's a principle.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to apply our actions to the things that work for the majority. You know what I'm saying? So that's why things like murder, they're against the law. It might work for one person who really wants to kill somebody. You know what I'm saying? But for the rest of us that don't want to be killed, we don't think that's a good idea. And that's why we got a law there. You see, that's the principle applies to everything. That's it, right? So the way you gotta look at pool funding, you gotta look at pool funding like you're part of a cooperative, and you really are in a strong ownership position here, but it's an ownership position with reason, business reason, right? You can't just be like, oh, I'm just gonna get mine, and I don't care about anybody else. That attitude won't fly in a cooperative. Am I right?
That's right.
Okay. Well, was this a good meeting today? Did it get you? Did it get some, sparks in the air and get you fired up?
Yes.
I
Yes.
love the
Absolutely.
10% tithe thing.
You like that 10% tithe? Yeah.
Yes.
Everybody can do
Yeah,
that.
toward the coins.
Yeah, but do it as from have it come from the heart. Somebody can do more than 10. So in the chat today, I just want to see how many of you are going to buy between now and Monday. You're going to buy some of the coin. You just put buy today if you're going to buy. Just put the word buy, B-U-Y. If you're going to buy before Monday. Okay, good. All right, good. All right, that's what I wanted to see. Okay, it worked. I hope you guys appreciate my leadership style and that I do things in measured strokes. I hope you're okay with that.
We do appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm trying to get after you a little bit because it's time. Some of you still need to kind of shake it off, or whatever happened before. Shake it off and let's go. It's been a roller coaster ride, and that's just the past. It can be less of a roller coaster ride if we all shake it off right now. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
All right, good deal. Okay, well, now I'm going to go ahead and have you guys say bye for now, and I'll end the recording.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Bye
Bye
for
for
now.
now.
Guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye for
Good,
now.
everyone.